We're here for a reason. There is context to everything. There is context to this selection and to this country that you need to know if you're going to be part of this. This might just be a Eurovision channel, but what started out as a video about the Moldovan national selection has turned into something else entirely. I'm on my way there now on a train, which I'll explain in a minute, to Europe's least visited country. This train has been chosen very deliberately. We flew to Bucharest in Romania and boarded the overnight train to Chișinău, which is the capital of Moldova. This is the very train that Satoshi sung about at Eurovision in 2022 and captured Europe's imagination in the process. That song was a very pointed message about Moldova's desire to be European. And over the last few years, as war has raged just over the border in Ukraine, that fight to break free of an authoritarian Russian-led past has been the focal point of Moldovan society and its politics. In this video, we are, of course, going to look into Moldova's new and improved national selection for 2026. But the more I prepared to make this video and the more we arranged this trip, I realized there is something much bigger going on here. Since it gained its independence 35 years ago, Moldova has been engaged in a battle to have the right to define its own future. And in the last 2 years, that battle has hit a series of critical moments. Amid the backdrop of the invasion of Ukraine that continues to rage just next door, the tendrils of the Kremlin have attempted to wrap themselves around Moldova too. Since the end of 2024, Moldova has held a constitutional referendum on whether it should move closer to the European Union, a presidential election, and a parliamentary election. All of these were the target of massive Russian influence, illicit financing, and in some cases, outright coercion and bribery. With Russia relying on its old trick of literally switching off the gas supply to Moldova to try and pressure them into following their way. And yet, in spite of that, Moldova's beleaguered institutions that are so young have held strong. The country voted amid this pressure to enshrine a path to EU membership in its constitution and supported pro-EU candidates both in its parliament and for its president. Now it stands at the doorstep of the EU with its path westwards finally starting to clear. Amid that backdrop, we come to this Eurovision selection. After an exceptionally difficult year last year, Moldova withdrew from the contest altogether, citing the poor quality of submissions and a need to reevaluate the selection as a whole. That process has been completed now, and what we've ended up with is a brand new live show, hosted in a proper arena and with, it seems, way more buy-in from the domestic music industry. And based on what a lot of the people involved with this selection are saying, it's pretty clear how Moldova's musicians and artists are viewing this show. I've talked on many occasions about the political importance of Eurovision to some countries, but generally in a negative context and especially with regard to Israel. I think there's something very unique happening here and it needs to be spotlighted. Moldova this year feels like it's sending Europe a message. And in this video, as well as evaluating that selection for what it is in the way that we usually do, as well as attending it in person ourselves and giving you a taste of it, we're going to try and elaborate what exactly that message is and who the message carriers are. As well as that, this is a country that is so much more than just its politics, and we want to give you a taste of somewhere that you probably haven't visited. I've brought some friends to help, and you're going to be seeing Jay in this video along with my good friend Godham and also Ben from ESC Insight. Tomorrow morning, the adventure begins, and you're not going to want to go anywhere. For now, here's a montage of a bunch of train stuff in 3, 2, 1. In case you wanted a metaphor that sums up this country, the EU flag is sitting directly under the Russian name for this city, Chișinău. Let's go.
Moldova is kind of an artificial state. I don't want to say it to undermine its democracy or whatever, because this is a democratic country. We do have a constitution and whatever, but I really like this metaphor that my history teacher uses. It's that Moldova is basically Romania's cut off hand, and it needs something to leech off of, since a hand by itself isn't gonna survive. I definitely see why people would think that Moldova isn't independent, or that they think that it should align with Russia. Yeah. And there is a truth in the Romanian part, and you can also maybe, if you stretch it a little bit, could see that we were doing pretty well with the Russians. But the thing is that as long as any political decisions are done by external parties, then it's not going to be good for the people, since what the people want should usually be what the country's going for.
It's not fair. It's not fair for a Moldovan election to be decided in Moscow.
Exactly.
Get a load of this. Where's the thing? How do I?
Wow. The mold still.
That is the Moldovan Ministry of Energy. Like our neighbours are a government ministry, and just over there where those flags are, the literal Moldovan parliament. That's all. So it turns out the broadcaster is just going to let us go to all the rehearsals. So I know we just got off the train, but we're here now. We are now in the arena and I'm joined by Satoshi. Thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Thank you for coming here.
We're really enjoying it so far. We actually came in on the Bucharest to Kishau train this morning, which is obviously a famous train in a Eurovision context.
Yes.
And I actually kind of think it's a nice place to start when we talk about your song. I guess I wanted to understand a bit better the core message of the song and what it is you want to tell Moldova and also the rest of Europe with it.
Right. First off, thank you so much for coming here. Thank you for analyzing my song and for not being indifferent to it. My song has a cultural statement more than a political one. It doesn't have a political statement, which could be treated so by someone probably, but it is a song about cultural unity amongst European countries, about a common cultural heritage. It is a song that affirms we as Moldovans are a part of this bigger cultural identity. And we're coming in with the very best thing that we have and represent us, values and preferences. I do have some references about food, about authors and things that represent particularly our country. At the same time, it affirms that things that makes us united are more important than those that divide us. So this is why I assume and I hope that much more people from all across Europe will understand the lyrics. This is why I gave myself a challenge to write this pan-European language lyric to the song.
The one thing that I want people to understand as well is, do you feel that kind of going from generation to generation, there has been a kind of change in the mindset of Moldovans at all, like from your compared to your parents, for example?
Definitely. Our people are freedom-loving people, and we want to be a part of civilized world, to have rights to travel freely, to work freely, and to have connections all around the world. We're just like that, and we proved it last few years. You know, our people are kind. Our people are pretty open-minded. Generally, there's a lot of traditionalism and very rigid mentalities here and there, but it is a process, and it happens. And I'm really proud of seeing my people being so involved in social processes and in supporting local artists and in being present, with some healthy mentality. I can see it from my perspective. I can see youngsters being more clever than I was at their age. And
I guess, do you feel like people are being a bit more, yes, I am Moldova?
Yes, I do see people identifying themselves more, freely and proudly being Moldovans. And I see it as a good thing because we have to get pass through it. And I try to be a part that moves them toward that affirmation, because we have the complex of being a small country. We have the complex of being, a lost people between two bigger countries, and we are a post-Soviet country and blah, 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 blah. What to do? First off, we have to acknowledge everything that happens here culturally, historically, to accept it, and then to work with it. We're just normal. We're just normal, kind people We're a small country, yes, but that's not definitely, you know, a problem for sure. We can make out something out of it because this place is a very multicultural one. We have lots of different people right here, and we have to make an advantage out of it. You know, the knowing of different languages, the fact that we can combine different mentalities, the Eastern one and the Western one and the local one, and we can make a great mix. We have clever people. We have people that bring result from Olympics. From sportive one and academic one.
That was Satoshi, and that was actually a really long interview that we can't put the entire thing into this video, and it covered a whole bunch of stuff. So I will also play that for you on a live stream at some point, or I will share it elsewhere. The point is, you'll be able to see the full thing. What is really interesting to me about Satoshi and why I specifically wanted to interview him was what I was saying before about where this show is in relation to where Moldova is, you know, culturally, politically, and so on. I think you could tell through his answers that he does have a clear message about Moldova moving closer to Europe. What's interesting is that not every participant feels that way. That's because there's also this guy, Evgeny Avramov. Evgeny Avramov is from and lives in the breakaway Republic of Transnistria. This is a breakaway republic that is on Moldovan territory with Russian troops stationed within it. In this republic, they speak almost exclusively Russian, and it is very much aligned with the Russian world. Evgeny is something of a hero in Transnistria. He is one of the most adored artists there too. He's won awards. He's considered a state artist of Transnistria. In an interview with a Moldovan newspaper, when asked if he won the competition, whether he would be considering himself to be representing the Republic of Moldova, he said, "No, I'm representing my dynasty." So, just like you have it in the whole cultural space and in the political and geopolitical space of Moldova, we have these tensions in the show too. You have these two utterly juxtaposed messages facing off against each other in just a couple of days' time. All of this is to say, as we know, Eurovision and its constituent parts, like this selection here in Moldova, is political, is cultural, is inextricably connected to the society with which it is representing. In this case, and this is the point I keep trying to make in this video, in this case, you have a country which is fighting within itself and with huge external actors to push westwards, to push towards Europe. You have institutions like Transnistria, which are trying to pull back on that. And you have people who would attempt to dismantle the institutions of Moldova in order to drag them back eastwards. I'm not trying to draw conclusions on Moldova in this video. At least I'm not trying to tell you exactly where their society is, because that would take hours and hours. What I do want to try and illustrate is kind of roughly where Moldova stands in relation to Europe and in relation to Eurovision, and then talk about where, if we as people who believe in pan-European experiences, who believe in a European project of some sort, can do to welcome the country further into that space. To do that, we need to understand some of the institutions a bit more. For that reason, tomorrow morning, we're going to be going to the Moldovan broadcaster TRM to see their studios for ourselves and see some of the problems that they face. For now, we're done with Thursday. Tomorrow, there are rehearsals as well. We might have some footage from that. Then we're going to get into the show.
One day later.
It is now Friday. It is about like 8:30 in the, I don't have a watch, I don't know why I'm looking. Our good friend Ben from ESC Insight got talking to the television station, Teleradio Moldova's TV director. And as a result, we're here.
Make yourselves comfortable.
Daniel, hello.
So basically a minimum of 6 hours per day are recorded live from this studio. And also we are doing recordings of other shows. We have an informative one about money. We have a disinformation, fighting disinformation show also recorded from here. We have the sport program, which is on a weekly basis from here. Oh yeah, and the diplomatic dimension, which is an analytical show done by one of our legendary hosts with ambassadors, diplomats.
This entire building was built in 1956. when at the time Moldova was part of the Soviet Union. This corridor is what the whole building was like before it was renovated. What's really interesting is, and it's the same with everywhere in Moldova, is you can still see the signs of the Russian occupation everywhere you look. All of the original fittings in this building, those that still exist, every single one is in Russian only. Everything new is either in Romanian or in both languages, but the old stuff, like take for example, even things like this old electrical cover, only in Cyrillic, only in Russian.
That's our youngest host, youngest news anchor. And today, it's her 5th day as a news anchor. 8 news bulletins per day, and out of which one is in Russian language, and the rest of them are in Romanian. When we came to the team, there was nothing in this studio. It was closed and not used. What I'm really proud about is that we changed the graphic packages for news and for the morning show, and they are finally looking adequate to the rigors of 21st century. That's Radio Moldova, our main national radio channel. We have 4 radio stations. And also we opened last year a regional branch in the capital city of the Gagauz autonomy, which is Radio Moldova Comrade. And we are intending at some point to extend their operations to TV level as well. Quite a success story, I think. And that's very much important as long as they are extremely exposed to Russian propaganda.
Yeah. Now that's your whole setup.
Oh wow.
Really short photo.
For the avoidance of doubt, this is a cupboard that is now an editing room. So if you want to know what broadcasters operating on tight budgets look like, that's it. Now we're meeting some of the hosts.
So they are the stars of tomorrow's show. And not only.
Welcome
Thank
to
you.
Moldova, and thank you for the interest in our competition in here. Well, I'm in the Eurovision competition, the local one, since 2013.
Okay.
So I'm old, I'm from Jurassic Park.
Every year.
Yes.
Okay.
She's just doing that basically from kindergarten because she is a TV person from the roots of her blood, you know. So
I'm all in Eurovision. It sounds
Experience.
bad. Experience.
Not
Yes,
really.
I'm like a bottle of wine. As many years as I have, as more experienced I am.
Yes.
Tell my husband this one, please.
I will. I definitely will. Ion, how about you?
For the last 6 years, I'm at this movie, Eurovision Song Contest.
Does it feel different to preparing to the past national selections, given that this one is so much larger in scale, new venue, obviously not participating last year? Is it a very different experience to what it was like before?
Yes, it is. But it's a lovely change because here you're feeling like home, and now we're going outside our roots. We're trying something different. It's another scale. We're trying to do our best, and hopefully we'll pass this exam.
Inshallah.
I don't like the tone of your voice.
Me neither.
You're meant to feel like this day before.
Okay, thank you. Thank you guys. See ya.
See ya.
So see you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
You see, the thing is, it's a little eerie because, as we were told before, these structures, all of it is also from 1956, built by the Soviets. At the time, it was designed for 6,000 people to work here. The actual number of people who work at the Moldovan broadcaster now is around 480. So it's eerie in some ways. And as if to kind of hammer my point home, this building has a Soviet mosaic on the side.
Here you will see just later the second TV studio, which is the biggest studio in the country. Here we have a lot of TV shows with public, and here we have Eurovision for the last
Yes,
couple of years, 10 years I think. TV studio in the country, 600 square meters. You don't see the cameras now because all of them are in the arena. Today we have trials for a new TV program which I expect to launch next week.
So this is where the national selection was in previous
Yes,
iterations.
yes.
There's about 300 people attending. They have 4 cameras in those days in total.
4 cameras?
There's 4 cameras.
Okay.
Yes.
No, now we have more.
Yes.
How many are there in the arena today?
17.
17. Okay.
Yes, 17 cameras and 14 cameras.
I do want to ask you, are you familiar with, there is a quite well-known participation in the Moldovan national selection, I believe it was 2024, under the name Miss Katie Love.
Yes, I do.
I was wondering, how did that, because it was just like some sounds, right? What was the process? How did that end up on the website of TRM? How did that end up in the sort of short list of songs?
Oh, well, back then I was not responsible for pre-selection, so I can't tell you. There was an Orga committee who decided over it, but I think that was a tremendous accident.
I want to make something really clear, because until the last few hours, I don't think the scale of inequality in Eurovision has been quite as clear to me as it was now. The yearly budget of the British broadcaster, the BBC, is £3.7 billion. The yearly budget of ARD, the German broadcaster, is €6.9 billion. You want to know what the yearly budget of this broadcaster here in Moldova is? €10 million. 10 million. This isn't a matter of small inequalities. That is a chasm. There is absolutely no way you can do anything like the same thing at Eurovision or anywhere else with that kind of money. And the thing that's really crazy to me, the EBU is an organisation that, as we all know, is wealthy. It has a lot of members. Those members pay an enormous amount to the organisation. Eurovision, as an event, has sponsors. It has affiliation fees. There's all of this money coming in. And do you know who's doing the development work here? Grants from the Japanese broadcaster and training and funding provided by the BBC. Now, I don't know about you, but these are very obviously things that the EBU should be doing. It's the European Broadcasting Union. TRM is a member, and I doubt that these problems are exclusive to them. And my biggest takeaway from being here today is, where the hell are you? What are you spending all of this money on? You have broadcasters in Eastern Europe who are starving, who barely have enough money to get through the year, who are having to make creative decisions, based on, well, what can we afford to do rather than what should we be doing as a broadcaster? In the meantime, you're sitting in a headquarters in Switzerland, bathing in cash, which should be being spent in places like this where it would have a massive effect. This isn't even just about Eurovision. It's barely even just about public broadcasting. This is about building institutions and our responsibility as members of wider European institutions to do that. The only way you can convince Eastern Europe of the validity and the importance of the European project is by developing the institutions in those countries. These are institutions that have existed independently for 35 years. In many cases, there was never any independent state or independent institution before that. It's like we said, the Soviets built this entire place in 1956. It's Soviet cables still running through the walls. In a few years' time, I don't want to hear that things are existing because there's funding coming in from Japan or the UK, although that is obviously a really good thing that those things are happening. I want to hear that the EBU is pouring money in, that it's developing institutions like this, and that they don't have to rely on 80-year-old infrastructure when it comes to things like electricity, because naturally on such a small budget, they can't afford to do it themselves. If you claim to be the defender of public broadcasting, which incidentally is your number one defense when it comes to Can in Israel, then you can put up or shut up by helping to fund broadcasters like this one properly. What they are already able to do with 10 million euros is a miracle. Imagine if they had 15 million. For the EBU, that kind of difference is pocket change. Use your pocket change wisely, because it can make a massive difference in places like this. I didn't plan to do this piece to camera, but I'm angry, so I'm doing it. The next thing after this is probably going to be going forward to the show tomorrow. And we're going to see what they're able to do despite having only a fraction of that money available to fund a program like this. This national final is the same amount of funding that was available 2 years ago in 2024. And the difference that can be made with ambition, with people who clearly care about this project, is enormous. Now imagine what they could do with twice the resources or 3 times the resources. Again, for an organization like the EBU, this is pocket change. And we didn't even expect to be here at all. But quite frankly, having heard about the situation of the broadcaster, having walked around this place, the fact that they are allowed to continue to exist with so little central funding from an organization that is meant to be supporting public broadcasting is indefensible. It's disgraceful, and it has to change. On that angry note, we are now going to go to some more rehearsals. There'll probably be some footage and stuff in here, the interval actoral today, and then we're going to be moving forward to the show tomorrow. But there is no better way to encapsulate the situation that this country finds itself in with relation to Europe and European institutions than where we are with TRM and the EBU. It is not enough to simply say, oh, you're part of our club, you pay us your membership fee, you're one of us, so we'll issue some statements in your support. Open your wallet and start spending some money, and that's all. We have a really special interview. We pulled this one together today. We're going to be speaking to Jamala about some of the things we've been talking about in the video.
I really want peace and love to everyone.
How did you feel in 2016 that Europe responded to the message of the song? And do you think the message of the song has changed since 2022 as well?
I decided to take part in Eurovision because of this song, actually. It was my personal story about my great-grandmother, Nazal Khan, about tragedy. And do you know the results? The Europe, they believed me, and it's so unpriceless. And nowadays, unfortunately, it reflects our life. When strangers are coming, they come to a house, they kill you all and say we're not guilty. It's about us again and again. Never again happened again. And unfortunately, every day under attacks, under missiles attacks, under rockets attacks, and we have no electricity. It's total blackout. We have no heating. It's really a hard time for our country. And as an artist, as a musician, I can say about this. And for me, it's a big honor to be here tonight and to be part of this huge event, to be part of them, especially in this tough time, because Moldova is real, true neighbor for us. That open its door to our women's, to our women, and on behalf of all Ukrainians, I'm just here to say again and again, mulțumesc, thank you for your support, for your love, because it's unpriceless. Every help to our country nowadays, it's unpriceless.
I'm glad we finished at tonight and this event.
Yeah.
And I'm also conscious, Vidbir is about to happen in Ukraine, and we just had the songs revealed.
Yeah.
How important do you think it is that Ukraine and Moldova, given the context, continue to participate in Eurovision?
It's really hard to explain. And even during, as I said, no electricity, no heating, and so on, we are crazy. We still going to make contests, to make Vidbir. We represent our culture every day because it's our way to show our resilience. We exist, we are here, we create with no electricity, under attacks, we still writing the songs and so on. We're crazy. I can say I can find any explanation. We are really so in love in our country, in our culture, and we can't refuse to be part of this contest. We can't afford to our country not to be here, not to be there, because for us it's real moment to show that we are here, we are alive, we're still fighting for our freedom. See us, because we know that in the world, in this crazy world, we have so much pain and we have so much war, but we exist. You know, it's really this moment, this platform. To show again and again, and for Moldova and for Ukraine, it's really important contest. It's really important contest. I don't know about the UK. I don't know about the Netherlands. They really so good in music. I mean, globally, let me say. Yeah, they have a lot of singers, Adele, I don't know, Dua Lipa, and so on. They let me say, they can afford not to be, I mean, so involved in this contest. But we can't. We have to use this moment. We can use this platform. We can again and again to show that we create our music based on our roots. You absolutely have to follow Ukrainian selection, national selection of Eurovision in Ukraine with beer.
Slava Ukraini.
Героям слава.
On that note, having spoken to Jamala, I think really reinforces the importance of shows like this. But of course, there is actually a show to attend. And we're now going to walk through here, because for the first time, in all of its glory, it's time for us to show you this. So, Jay, why don't you point the camera over there? We are now in an elite view, either privileged or damaged, depending on how you look at it, who have seen this song live. He's real!
Publică Teleradio Moldova are onoarea de a fi gazda acestui concurs muzical și tot această companie oferă și biletul spre...
We just had the first 12 points, and it's gone to Satoshi. As you can hear, that is a popular choice. Here we go.
Satoshi.
That's 2 of 2 so far from the local jury. Who do you want to win?
Satoshi!
I think it's pretty clear. Next, we're going to go to the international jury, which is Jamala Effendi, Paula Selling, and Deben Adorami.
Eric Leman.
Who?
Eric Leman.
What?
Eric Leman.
Eric, the guy from Luxembourg.
With my experience, I want to choose an artist who represents Moldova's culture. Viva Moldova!
Here's Deben now. And he has not given 12 points to Satoshi. He's given him 7. The most Deben action of all time. Deben, I love you, just to be clear.
My 12 points go to...
Probably Catalina.
Curly!
Oh, I didn't expect that. Deben, never change. I can never predict you.
They're over. Cancel with your blogs.
I don't get what's And now it's official. A landslide of unprecedented, genuinely unprecedented proportions. There's no doubt who the crowd wanted to. That is then going to conclude for tonight, but tomorrow we have to close up. I'm going to take the night to think about the show we've just seen. Tomorrow we're going to talk about it, and we're going to remind ourselves why all of this is so important in the context of Moldova. We're here for a reason. There is context to everything. There is context to this song and to this selection and to this country that you need to know if you're going to be part of this. And that is where we're going next. We're now here standing on the banks, well, actually, literally on the Dniester River, on the lake created by the Dubasari Dam, controlled by the separatists just there. Firstly, I want to talk about last night's show because I'm still kind of glowing in the aura of it a little bit. It was the most amazing, joyful production. I think there's been a lot of people saying it reminds us of how Eurovision should be, and I felt that really strongly. Secondly is about the result and about what it means. Satoshi won with an unprecedented in Eurovision history level of televotes. He had 15 times as many votes as the next person, and it felt like Moldova spoke in one voice. That brings us to why I'm here. This whole video we've been talking about how this is a country that is jumping up and down, yelling and screaming to Europe, let us in, you know, we are European, we want to integrate, we want to be part of a free European world. And yet, everywhere I see the signs that are emblematic of a continent and of a contest that right now isn't doing enough for countries like Moldova. Think about when we were at TRM and what we learned about their external support and the fact it was coming from Japan and from the BBC, while the EBU sits in its headquarters in Switzerland on millions and millions of euros, which could totally transform broadcasting in a country like this. It's such a perfect metaphor for the entire context, the entire world in which Moldova exists right now. The reason I wanted to stand here to tell you about this is because it's not just a metaphorical or theoretical divide that exists here that is holding Moldova back from Europe. It's a very, very real one. We cannot walk over there. The reason we cannot walk over there is that is the breakaway so-called Republic of Transnistria. I really can't stress this enough because I feel like all of this stuff feels kind of conceptual until you come here. We alongside, and you should never do this alone, only go with proper guides. We were originally just going to come here to film this. Our guides were very insistent. They urged us that we should go in and see for ourselves. There are Russian troops standing 500 meters away on the other side of this dam. There are Russian troops on every bridge across this river. Make no mistake about it, this is a country that is still partly under occupation. And it's this kind of place, just like in Ukraine, that it is for Europe to prove for itself and to the world that it's strong enough to support people in places like Moldova and in Ukraine, and that a pan-European project is something that is worth pursuing. These battles, these culture wars between, pro-European and pro-Russian forces, pro-authoritarian forces that exist in places like this, they're physical divides too. And it's up to us to invest, to raise awareness, to be part of the Moldovan story in order to win that battle. The reason we have to win that battle is because Ukraine has already showed us it's existential. If we don't win this battle here on the River Dniester or on the River Dnieper in Ukraine, one day it will be on the Elbe and the Danube and the Seine. That is the choice that we as Europeans have to make now. I really, really recommend to everyone watching this that you come here for the Eurovision selection next year or just on holiday and see it for yourself. Because if you want to know how important a European project is, you should come here and talk to the people who are desperate to be a part of it, but who are being let down by European institutions that aren't doing enough. That is the gauntlet I want to lay down to everyone, and that is one of the things that I think Eurovision is most potent in doing. The Moldovan story deserves to be told. The story of Eastern European nations struggling for democracy needs to be told. Outlets where that is possible need to be preserved. That's one of the reasons why things like Eurovision are so important and why I feel so passionately about defending this contest. But it's so much bigger than that. And the only way we can ever enjoy democratic freedoms and everything that we love about living in liberal Western European countries is by defending them. And we have to defend them here. These things aren't passive. We can either live these values and use them, or we can lose them. That is the only choice. Okay, great. Thanks, Jay.